Samantha from Jessima Tutorials here, and welcome back to another junk to jewellery video. So today we are going to be using the scraps from one of my recent inspired by that photo videos. I will have a link to it in the description below, but basically we made this loose chrysanthemum cane along with almost like I'm going to probably call it a pixel cane. I think that would work. But we have these scraps, and so we're going to be using those to create a Bargello today. So I'm also going to bring over some gold because there's a lot of gold featured in the leftovers. Now, you don't have to have the same leftovers that I have. You can use this with any leftovers. What I'd recommend doing is starting with strong colours. You don't really want muddy leftovers. You can use them, but I find it works better when it's not too muddy. Pick a colour. So for instance, you could pick the green, black, red or gold. I've decided to pick gold, and this is going to be our secondary veneer that we're going to be making with the Bargello. Okay, so then you want to take your scraps, just take all of them, and we don't need all this. I'm going to be putting these two cane slices off to the side because we can use those for another veneer, another leftover technique later. And I'm going to take this and I'm just going to chop it up like so. It doesn't have to be too fine. I just want to chop it up enough that we can mix all the leftovers together and have a fairly even distribution of colours. So just mix that around and make sure you separate the pieces because they can stick together. There we go. Then just bundle that up into a log, and everything I'm doing here you should do with the gold as well. Now with the gold in particular, you want to chop it up as well because it's gold and so it has a bit of mica powders in it. So by chopping it up, you're going to be creating variations in that pattern. So I would highly recommend doing that as well. But just pop that into a ball, do the same with this one until you have two balls like this. Then we are going to flatten them out. So I'm just going to use my roller to do that, and I'm not going to immediately start rolling. I'm first going to press it down just to kind of get it into a slab, and then I'll start rolling. And that's just because generally if I start rolling and it's in a ball still, I find that it slips out from under my roller and just can cause issues. There we go. Just going to flatten that out until it's probably about 4mm thick. Then I'm gently going to press it into a roughly rectangular shape, like so. Making sure to tap in those sides so that we don't have crumbly edges. Everything I'm doing with this one, you do with the gold piece as well. Go. Then I'm going to run it through my pasta machine on my thickest setting. And there we go. So they're both the same thickness. Then choose the side that you like the most. These are the two that I like best. Then this next option is completely up to personal preference, but I'm going to be texturing the top of my veneers so that my Bargello has a bit of texture. Again, completely up to personal preference. You do not need to do this. And I'm just using this texture sponge. You can use a piece of sandpaper as well if you want to. Okay, repeat with the gold. And there we go. Again, do not have to do that. Now I'm just going to pick those up off the tile so that they're loose. Then choose one side. It can be this or this side. I like using the long side. And just straighten it up. Repeat for the gold as well. And remember with the gold, there's no leftovers with this one. Make sure to put that back with your gold. Okay. Then I'm just going to take this veneer And I'm actually going to pop it to the side over here so you can still see it, but we've got plenty of space here. And I'm going to cut a piece that is about 8 millimeters in width. Put that to the side here. Grab the gold. I'm going to cut one that is about the same width, roughly, and pop that down like so. Grab the next one and pop it down. And now with the Bargello, what you generally do is you'll take the pattern and you'll have it stepping up, 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 and then going down again. I will link a video to another tutorial where I did a typical Bargello. This one's not the same as that. It's basically where we're taking strips of clay and just popping them together, so it's not the same technique exactly, and that's because we're using 2 veneers. If you were going to do a typical Bargello, generally you would only use 1 veneer. But I'm just going to take those and I'm going to continue alternating them like so. Okay, there we go. Then the next step, again, this is going to vary. If you have the texture, you want to be doing this with the texture sponge or the sandpaper that you used. If you did not use a texture, then you want to be doing this with a piece of paper so you keep a nice smooth effect. But you basically want to be taking this and you want to just gently press down. If you use a piece of paper, you want to gently burnish, just so that you get these pieces stuck together, like so. Okay, and I don't need to do this too much because we already have a lot of texture on there and we didn't lose any of it during the process. This is just to get the pieces stuck down together, and if any of the areas are raised, to tap them down. Okay, I'll just... There we go, all good. Okay, then I am going to even that out. And this is more leftovers. You can save that for another project if you want to, or you can pick out the gold as well because it's not completely bonded together, as you can see there, so you can just peel that apart and save the gold pieces and put these into the scrap pile. There we go, and there you go, you got yourself a veneer. Pick that up and I'll show you what the other side looks like, and that's roughly what it will look like without texture, and so personally I still think it looks best with the texture. This is a more complicated side in regards to pattern, but you can see the difference that the texture makes. Okay, and while I like this, I think I actually want to do a normal Bargello effect using this veneer. So what I'm going to do is I am going to turn it this way around, pop it down over here, tap it just to make sure that those pieces are bonded together. If you're going to do this, you want to spend more time like really making sure that it's bonded together. So then I will take a roller and just make sure that that's stuck together well. And then just cut this edge because that will be uneven. Then I'm going to grab that like we did before, place it down, grab another piece, make it about the same thickness, and then move it 1 block up. So you can see there, if we were going to put it next to each other, we wouldn't do that, but we've moved it 1 block up. Go. And don't worry about using your fingers, you can always retexture it. There, we've moved it 1 block up. You can either move it 1 block up or 1 block down, that's fine, but then once you're going in one direction, so you either are going up or you're going down, you want to kind of choose a direction and stick with that for a bit. And then repeat the pattern a few times. So I generally will go about 4 up and then 4 down. And the way you do that is you just grab another piece and then you start going down again, like so. And then you repeat that motion until you've used up all of this. And there we go, that's how it looks. Then grab your sponge again and very gently press down on it. You don't want to press too much because you don't want to distort it. Now, I'm not going to be baking a piece or anything out of this. I've done many different videos on this channel showing how to create pendants, bracelets, collars, earrings, you name it. So I'm not going to be creating something with this today. This is mostly about the technique and how to use the leftover clay. To give you an idea of what you could use this for, because I particularly like the edges of the Bargello, and I don't necessarily like cutting it off like this so that it ends up just kind of looking like a checker. Veneer, something that I think would look nice if you were to make something with this technique would be to work with a bit more leftovers than I did here, maybe about double, and turn it into a bowl and just take the veneer exactly as it is. Try to even it out so that you've got it sitting and it's more geometric than what I have here. But you could take this exactly as it is, imagine that it goes off a little further here, and you could sculpt that, or you could lay that inside a ceramic or metal bowl and bake that, and then you could have a really cool looking trinket dish. So that's something that you could consider making if you are going to be using this technique. You can also make pendants, you can make bracelets, those also look quite cool, but there are lots of ways that you can use this technique. And yeah, that's basically it. If you enjoyed the tutorial, please do let me know in the comments below. If you liked it, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. Only about 50% of you are subscribed, so if you are watching this, please do consider subscribing and ringing the bell. It will give you a notification whenever I publish a video, and I publish minimum once a week, generally more than that. That is greatly appreciated. And as always, I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.